People always ask me who are some of the influences of my life. And I've had several. If you could come to our headquarters, you see our Hall of Greatness. Many of you have heard me talk about it at one level or another, but some of you are just now meeting me. And by the way, when I say people, I'm not necessarily condemning or condoning them across the board. But one of the names that comes to my mind often is somebody's had a big impact on me is Steve Jobs. I've listened to probably every interview that's ever been recorded at some level or another, the official ones, some of the more rare ones. His autobiography was powerful. Every documentary you can think of, I've observed and absorbed rather. But he's been a big influence on me. I think many different things, but if I could point out one thing that I think was just awesome, that I think has really helped me in my career, that I often default back to and remind myself of, is Steve Jobs was so, I don't know if confident was the right word, but he believed what he believed so much. He knew how important it was to protect his belief about what he was capable of doing. Does that make sense? It's like some early interviews talk about when he was first starting Apple and his vision to change and what he was going to do with the computer, and then when it got into music and iPhones and production, all these different things, because he's flipped 4 different industries head over feet in his lifetime. And he left the planet at an early age, 4 different industries in one lifetime. But there were early interviews with some of his staff going in and visiting with him, and they would, have a different opinion maybe of his, or they would want to contradict his, or try to talk him down off of something that he was believing, and nobody could ever do it. And so the staff would come out and they would be frustrated because they weren't able to move him. They weren't able to move him off of his belief. They were so frustrated they would actually kind of make fun of him and even mock him behind his back. And they would say, "Oh, well, you know how Steve is. He sees things his way and he won't listen to anybody." And they actually even called it his reality distortion field. They would actually come out after being with him and make fun of him and say, "Well, that's just Steve. He's going to see the things the way he sees them, and nobody's going to change him." Well, you know what? They were saying it like a negative. But isn't that really almost a positive? If you've got something like, I've got a vision in my heart to reach more people, to do things in a new way, and you might have a vision of your own at some level or another, but you know what it is, but it doesn't mean there isn't fear or questions. But so many times we let other people speak their opinions into our lives, and we misdiagnose their opinions as wise counsel. And we let somebody's opinions that we misdiagnose as wise counsel water down our dreams or your vision or your path or your direction. When in reality, what value, because wise counsel is only they've had experience, otherwise it's just an opinion. Why would we let somebody else's opinion or what somebody else thinks of us or their belief about our idea change our idea? Steve wouldn't. He'd hold the line and it would frustrate people. Of course, the end of the story with Steve Jobs. What people used to make fun of him for as his reality distortion field, it was not a distorted reality. It was just something other people couldn't see yet. It was just something other people couldn't connect to yet. And now, years later, it's no longer a distorted reality. It is actually the reality that we know. iPhones, iTunes, everything he's created, Apple computers. It was not a distorted reality. It was a reality that was unknown to other people because they couldn't see it yet. I believe one of the reasons that we are in the shape that we are as a world today is because so few people are truly walking in their greatness. And greatness for me, many of you know, is the same word as purpose. So Steve Jobs has impacted my life at the level of, I always think about him, I have a huge picture of him hanging in my office. That when I begin to waver, or I begin to doubt, or somebody makes fun of me, or somebody says it isn't gonna happen, it helps me hold on to where I'm going, and it doesn't rob me. I don't let it rob me of my greatness or dilute my greatness. I stick to my guns. I stand my ground and said, you know what? Hey, it's just something other people can't see yet. It's something other people can't comprehend yet. I know this is the vision for me. I'm not gonna let anybody talk me off of what I'm going to do. That's one of the biggest things, and people can call it Keith Copeland's reality distortion field, whatever it is they want to see or call it, great. They're not me. They don't live my life. Don't let somebody else dilute your greatness or your dreams or the way you see something, because I believe we each are given an ability to see things in a certain way. We're each given a purpose or a greatness. And when we walk away from it, we get kind of the world that we exist in. The reason that we exist in the world we do today the way it is because so few people are truly walking in their greatness. Why is that? Because so many people walk away from it. Often because of what other people have said. So whenever I get there in my mind, I remind myself of Steve Jobs and said, you know what? If he did it, if he can flip upside down 4 industries, I can do 2. And those are the 2 that I'm after: leadership and health and fitness. If he can do it, so can I. And if I can do it, so can you. Have a great day.